Hello, hello. All right, we got people coming in the room. I'm so excited about this summit today. So we've been in the green room with the panelists. It's been good. So everyone come into the room. Just make sure your mic is turned off. You can definitely turn on your camera. Join us. We always love to see faces. Seen a lot of Academy students, which is amazing, as you're wanting to hear from your peers. So today, hello, my name is Holly Rustick, and I'm with Grant Writing and Funding at the Freelance Grant Writer Academy. Super excited to be with you all today. And our panelists we have for our summit today from zero to funded. So, or actually, no, sorry, it's from zero to 100K. All right, so let's get that throw more. So we have two panels for you all today, and we also have the doors to the Freelance Grant Writer Academy open today. So I will be talking about that. We close the doors this Sunday, June 22nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern, and you're going to want to get inside the doors. You're going to want to join these peers on these panels today because they're, yeah, you can talk to them. You can talk to them today. So what we have, let's see, just as we're getting everybody in the room, go ahead and put in the chat, like, if you're new to grant writing, if you're new to freelancing, like say, yeah, I'm new to freelance, or I've been in freelancing, or I'm new to grant writing, or I've been in grant writing. Just go ahead and introduce yourself, and also like where you're tuning in from. I always have so much fun seeing where everybody is coming in from. Yes. All right. So as you come in the room, yeah, just go ahead and put in the chat where you're tuning in from today, and then are you new to freelancing or are you new to grant writing? Go ahead. Melanie from Chicago, been grant consultant for 5 years, part-time. Welcome. Welcome. Super, super cool. I know everyone's getting inside the room still. Erica, hello from Northern Nevada, new to freelancing. Welcome. So good. So yeah, if you're new to freelancing or you're new to grant writing and where you're tuning in from. Alana, Greensboro, North Carolina, grant consultant for 5 years, still adjusting to freelancing for grant writing. Yep. Hey, Janet. Janet's been killing it lately with all the wins in the academy. I just gotta say that. All right. I'm seeing academy people in here. That's so, so good. Janet's from Tennessee, new to freelancing, but you've been writing grants for 3 years and it's showing. Tina, new to grant write consultant, but still building your business in Cypress, Texas. Melvin, hey, Melvin. Culver City, Los Angeles. Melanie, that was Yvonne. Hey, Yvonne. Yvonne's in the room too. And Rita is from Akron, Ohio, re-entering the profession. Alexandra, I just saw you join the academy yesterday, Alexandra. So, so fun. Oh, from Ann Arbor. I'll be in Michigan. I don't know, time is weird when you travel halfway around the world at some point in a day, I think, or so. Okay. Very, very cool. Part of the Sister Act. Wow. Caitlin joined the Academy back in April, been freelance grant writing for a year, working on getting a client, your first client. Good. You get to tune into this panel today to see how three of the folks in here have gotten their first clients or their first grants. Very good. In Seattle, Aggie, new to grant writing, Santa Cruz. Of course, Dee, yes, Dee, our coach is in here. Dee, can you give a little wave? Dee's inside. She's also our co-coach inside the academy. And I know Gwen's traveling, our other co-coach is traveling. There's so much travel going on today. And then Des is also here as well. Give a little wave for the team at GWF. That's Desiree. She's on the back end if you have any tech issues today as well. So, so good. Tamara is from Philadelphia, been grant writing, and yes, new to the academy as well, consulting since 2021. Very, very cool. Linda from Indiana, researching grant writing. So, so good. So yeah, so on and on and on. And I love this so much. We're seeing all the people in here. So, so good. So we have so many people in here. Wow. We got a lot of people that are showing up today. This is fantastic. So once again, I'm just going to give a little bit of an overview, and then we're going to get started with our first panel today. Our first panel today is going to be how students in the academy got their first grant or their first client, or I think some of you got both inside the academy, two of your first. So cool. And then our second panel that we'll be going into today are folks who came into the academy and they hit their first six figures inside the academy. So they hit their first 100K, super good, and now they're surpassing that. So you're going to hear from both sides of this. And at first I was like, oh, we'll have people in here that got their first 100K. And then I was like, you know what, that might feel so far away from some of you right now. I know a lot of the Academy students have been saying, hey, we want to hear more from our peers, like how they're doing it, because we're seeing all the wins in the Slack. And it's like, you get comparisitis sometimes, like maybe it's me, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Everyone started and has done a little bit of different things and has their own life situation. So I wanted to like give that platform and voice for folks, whether they've hit 100K or whether they won $2,000 in grants. Those are both wins. They're both huge, and they're both part of your journey and your milestones. Everybody starts with their first, right? We see sometimes like the 100K, we're like, wow, right? They must have had wow. And like they still started winning their first grant. They still started having to go out there and get their first client, right? So all of the things. So we're showing two different kind of milestones in this journey today as well. So once again, the doors to the Freelance Grant Writer Academy are open. If you don't know what that is, and if someone's not in the academy, I see a lot of academy students. If you're not in the academy yet, you can definitely be asking any questions in the chat. We'll be able to get to you. And you're going to hear about it today. But what it is it's our signature program. It's a 12-month group coaching program where you have access to curriculum, coaching, and community. And what we're doing is we're helping you navigate replacing your full-time income on part-time hours, writing grants from home. So we have weekly calls for that. We have world-class curriculum on grant writing and on business acumen. And we have something really fun coming up too. Why you want to join during this round is because we have we have all of the things going on, but we have a big thing coming up next week on June 24th, which is our Discovery Sales Call Lab Day. It's the first time we're doing a live training about how to actually run the call. Like we have a lot of training, and we have our nonprofit ethical sales system, how to set up your Calendly, what questions to ask for vetting before people can book a call with you, how to have high converting calls. But we're going to go through more of the nuances of when those objections come, how to overcome, especially 2025 objections, and still get clients. Because people in here still winning clients, they're still getting grants awarded, all of the things, even in 2025. And we're going to show you more of the questions to ask so it doesn't get weird on the sales call. And so you have really high converting sales calls, and it feels good. So actually Dee and I are going to do a mock sales call, and we're going to kind of like show when they throw those questions at you, I'm going to answer them. Okay. I'm going to show you how you can answer them. So it's neutral and it feels good, and it's just more curiosity, right? So I want you to feel like a lot of you are having like that sales calls, oh my gosh, or you're not getting yourself out there, you're not marketing your services because you're scared, right? You're scared, it feels weird, it's imposter syndrome, it's all the things, and then you're like, ugh. So we want to help you overcome that, because there definitely is a way. You don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to have won a whole bunch of grants. Don't have to have a whole bunch of experience. You can still feel really comfortable and confident on sales calls, but it is just learning how to do sales calls. It is a skill, right? It is a skill. There is a process. So we're going to be sharing that with you and helping you. And then we'll do some breakout rooms so you can practice it as well. So it's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited about this. And then in August, we're doing our Quit Your Job live training as well. So when you join in this round, you're getting a lot of lives over the summer of training and stuff going on and little challenges. So we're really excited about it. So, and the investment, of course, for the Freelance Grant Writer Academy is one payment of $2,500, and that will be your entire 12 months access. Or we have a payment plan is available as well. And we do have a bonus if you pay in full, which we might open up to everybody. I've been thinking about, but we'll see. But right now it's just for those who pay in full, is you get a one-on-one 30-minute coaching call, which is amazing. Amazing. All right. So I just dropped the link as well if you want to check it out. The doors do close this Sunday, June 22nd at 11:59 p.m. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our first panel. And once again, if you have questions for the panelists, if you have other questions, just put them in the chat. I'm not going to necessarily see it while we're having our panel, but please do put them there. We'll try to get to them as well. Caitlin just says, can you renew your membership at the end of the year? Yes, of course. We're not just going to kick you out. You can definitely. We have renewal bonuses as well, which is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. People are like, oh yeah. And just to give you like some baseline too, we literally, for my agency, we charge $2,500 to review one federal grant. That's what we charge. Like we charge $2,500 to review one grant. Inside the academy, you also get unlimited grant reviews. So even if you're just like, I'm just going to pay the academy just to review my grants, and you never even access the community, the live coaching, the curriculum, anything, you would literally get an ROI immediately. Like, it's crazy if you got a grant reviewed, one grant, right? So so good. Yes, you could stay forever, Kaylin. Love it, love it. Okay, so our first panelists. Woo! All right, so let's go ahead and spotlight them if we can, guys. We have Gabrielle Perry and we have Eowyn Malardio. Okay, well, she was like, you don't have to do that. I'm like, my Italian, no. So, and then we also have Christina Royster. So we have three panels. So let's give them a little round of applause or asterisks in the chat and welcome them. So, so good. All right, so our first panel, y'all. Yeah, we are going to be talking about your first, right? Your first client win or your first grant award inside the academy. So I'm just going to kind of do I'm going to do a little round robin for you. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Eowyn. Eowyn, I want to talk about, because I know, and you and I, it's been fun because we just had a recent podcast recording as well. So definitely y'all check that out. It was so good. And just tell us a little bit about like where were you in life before business or before joining the academy? Where were you in business? Where were you in life before joining the academy?
Oh, okay. Well, I did not have a grant writing business and I was new to grant writing. So I
Mhm.
had never written a grant. My background was in development and higher ed. So I had worked in donor relations and at a higher ed institution where I lived. And I left that job because the hours were just too long, the workload was just too much, and I had a toddler at home, so I just had a baby. And I'd always been interested in grant writing. So I did an online certificate program at a local university, and which was okay. And when I finished, I didn't really know where to go from there. Um, I had tried, but unsuccessfully, to get some clients, and but I'd never written a grant, right? Like, how do you get a client when you have never written a grant? And so that's when I
Mhm.
found the Grant Writing Academy. And number one, what stood out to me first and foremost was that you got unlimited grant reviews, because when you're pitching yourself to a client and you don't have anything to really show for it other than please trust me with your fundraising. I think being able to say that I was a part of a community that allowed me, that gave me support with unlimited like grant reviews, and I think that really did help me, get my first client. But yeah, that's what I was doing. So this was new to me, and I think I've been in the academy now for about a year.
I love that so much. And yeah, you're talking about, so you actually did use that, because I didn't know that. You were
Yeah.
like, oh, that's how you got your first client, was literally just saying, I have
Yeah,
a
that
community. Like,
was
how
one
did
of
you
the
close that? Yeah.
yes, that was one of the reasons, because I remember we did a podcast. I listened to a podcast or something, and you mentioned like
Yeah.
that's something you can tell people, and I was like, oh my
Absolutely.
gosh, yes, I should tell people this, because that's obviously something that would make me more marketable, because I want to do a good job and write grants, but I needed to take that first step to getting a client.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's I love that you use that, and that we're like, yes, please do. Because it's like people do feel like stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like when they're first starting out, it's like, well, I want to get a client so I can get, experience and I can win some grants and have, all the things. But to get a client, I need to have one, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like that whole, it
Exactly.
feels weird. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I get that. A lot of my work at the higher ed institution was like reporting on grants. So I did a lot of like reporting and tracking donor funding.
mhm.
And through that we would increase a grant, but like I hadn't actually written one. So this was great. And then being able to do the master grant application template, like that was such a holistic, comprehensive process of really doing a deep dive. And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, that just kind of, it was much better than honestly, it was much better than the certificate program I did. And it was, I mean, I want to talk down about a certificate program, but the
Right.
academy was like actually launched, me having any type of a career, and actually launched me being able to be successful and
Mhm.
securing grants and obtaining clients.
I love So you got your first client in the program and you got your first grant in the program.
Mhm.
Can you kind
I
of talk
did.
about that? Did you use like our grant reviews or the master grant? Like how you like did you feel supported in that process or
Yes, yes. So I ended up using the master grant application template a good bit, and I wasn't able to do a grant review for the first grant because it was last minute, and
Yep.
I was like, yes, I will help. So but it was for a community center in Charleston, South Carolina, and they applied for they needed support for a tax grant through the city.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I used the master grant application template to do the whole thing. And that's actually what enabled me to bring them on as a retainer client, because I started out just saying, hey, I'll help you with this one grant. If it goes well, like let's talk about it. So I got paid for it, but then which the academy helped me understand how to navigate those conversations. But yeah, it was great. So they got the win, and they'd never gotten that grant before. So they had applied the previous year unsuccessfully, and so they like, and that was one of the first grants they got that where they kind of were on the radar of like the city. So it was very exciting.
Amazing. What was
Hmm.
it for?
It was for advertising, so it was a tourism tax grant.
Oh, amazing. Oh, that's so
Hmm.
good.
Yeah, so they were
So,
competing with like, huge, like, or well, huge for Charleston, but like huge, nonprofit organizations who bring people to Charleston for tourism. So it was a lot of competition, and and going through and seeing like how much they gave to other organizations, I was not anticipating them to get the full amount so they got the full amount they asked for,
wow.
like 36,000. And so they I honestly didn't know what would happen, but it happened. It was very exciting for them. So it was
Amazing.
1 year marketing budget for them. Mhm.
Amazing. That's so good. And that's like such a ripple effect for the economy too. Like I
Yes.
love that. I love that so
Yes, heads
much.
in beds, exactly.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it was great for them, and it was, I mean, it's such a meaningful thing for the community as well. And now I'm on retainer for them. So
I love it.
it's
So,
great.
and you also use our process to get on retainer. And I love that
Yes.
you're, yeah, just starting out of like, okay, I'm totally new and I can create this business like right. From the
Yes,
beginning. So
yes.
I love that.
But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, in a way, that's kind of what made it cool, because it was a blank slate, and I was able
Yeah.
to kind of build something through the academy that mirrored my values.
Mhm.
And it was really cool to be a part of that, and not just, work for an organization where you're like, I'm not sure if this is really like making an impact in the way I want. And so the
Mhm.
academy allows me to be able to do that and see that in my community.
I love that. I love that so much. And then we were just like catching up. It was so funny on the back end before we started. We're all like, okay, what numbers do you have? So you guys submit your wins and stuff. So far you've been able to secure then $50,000 in grants from zero, y'all, from never getting a grant. Never
Yeah.
writing a grant before, like literally
Oh,
in a class, to now submitting grants and winning over $50,000 in grant funding and $54,000 in your grant writing business.
yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Give her
Yeah.
some love, y'all. That's so good. So I know a lot of you out there, you're like, but I don't have experience. Can I get paid to write the master grant application? Because inside the academy, we have our 30-day master grant application, and we're always like, yeah, you can, but it is
Mhm.
knowing like how, but then you guys get stuck sometimes, right? We get stuck in the, well, how would I even communicate that? And then in the sales call thing, that's why we're having our sales call lab coming up, y'all. But even going in the curriculum that we have now, you just utilized what we said is, we'll lean into us. We're a part of your team. We are a team member. So can
Mhm.
you just a little bit say like, was that an objection or did you get in front of that and say, this is what I have? Or was it a question that you responded to?
I got in front of it.
Good.
So I posted that question to Slack when I first started. I asked like the Slack channel, hey, like I am new to grant writing, and I need to do the master grant application template, because that's also part of the curriculum. And is there a way that I can get paid to do this? Because I need to get paid. So I got a lot of responses with people who
Mhm.
had maybe had those conversations. And so I just got ahead of it, because of course that's a natural question. Like let's talk about what you fundraised. And so I just said that I was my what did I say? I think I spoke to the fact that I had shifted some things in my career. I went from doing donor relations to now I'm just strictly doing grant writing, and I am new to grant writing, but I am part of a community, a grant writing academy, where I can look to colleagues who have like decades of experience in successful fundraising in order to get all of my reviews done. And I didn't tell them that I was doing a master grant application.
Yeah.
I just said that I was going to provide support for this grant, but I used the master grant application template in order to do it.
Nice. Oh,
Mhm.
fantastic. I love
Yeah.
that.
So
All right. All y'all that are having that issue of like, oh my gosh, how do I do this if I don't have any experience? I hope you're taking notes. Because yeah, this is a great way to showcase that. Thank you, Awan. I love that, Awan, because it's like you're really showing how you came from that. So let's shift over to Christina Royster. And go ahead, yeah, introduce your business and your title as well.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christina Royster with Keep Your Grant Solutions. So I'm excited to be here.
And Christina, can you let us know too, like where were you at before in life and business before joining the academy?
Um, Before I joined, I knew that I wanted a career change, but I wasn't really sure what that would look like.
mm,
And then I came across grant writing. I looked into it and I'm like, oh, writing, it's basically like writing a research paper. And I'm like, okay, I can do that because I've done it all throughout college and I loved doing that. And from there, I took a few, like, in a couple of like online training things. And it was like, it told me more about grant writing, but not like how to make this into a business. And
Mm,
so that is it probably took about 2 years before I found the academy. I
mhm.
still feel like, it was the perfect time because then I was like really ready to invest my time and energy in the program. So that's how it went.
Oh, I love that so much. And yeah, and being in college, right? So you're like having this college experience and going, okay, like what were some of the things to think about? Like, was it you said like you wanted to have like a life change? Was it like, okay, I want to, when I'm done with school or while I'm still in school, I
Yeah.
want to earn money. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so actually it was as I was moving into my master's degree. So
Okay. Okay.
I was going for creative nonfiction writing, and I just wanted a way to leverage writing for me to be a profitable business. At that time, I was still working with kids, and I felt really pigeonholed. Like once I started working with kids after I got out of the military, that's what I did for like 5 to 7 years. And it just wasn't bringing me joy anymore, to
Mhm.
put it short. And so when I found that grant writing was something that I could pursue, something that I can like tailor my life around, still complete my MFA in writing, have time to write, and then still have time to essentially run my business. At the time, I didn't know how awesome it would all turn out, but it felt scary.
Yeah.
But I truly decided that I'm going to commit, see it through, and that's what I did.
I love that so much. And you just finished. Did you not just finish your MFA? Or are you still
I'm in my thesis, but it's going
that's
well.
right. I was like, you're getting close right now. I thought it was so when are you finishing?
August 5th is my last day.
So really soon. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. And you're working
Thank
on a
you.
manuscript, right? Is that what
I
you're?
am. I am.
Yes.
100
Oh, that's so
pages.
exciting. How many pages?
100?
Dang, girl. All right. So yeah, I want to read it. Like, this
Oh,
is like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you and I like connected with the creative writing. So I was like, but I know that's a common passion too for all you writers out there, and a lot of you like to write other things too, and you got into grant writing just because you love to write, right? So I think that's so cool too to be like, how can I leverage when you ask that question? I did the same thing. My business, y'all, it's so I can do my creative writing. I literally was like, I'm gonna set up my grant writing business because that what brings in the money. So then I can have time to focus on, writing my novels. So yeah, the same thing. So it's like amazing, but then it's like such a cool job at the same time, right?
Absolutely.
I
Learn
love that
so
for
much.
you. I love that. I love that you have your manuscript done. Okay, so let's talk about your what inside the academy then. you had some grant writing experience with the grant writing courses like AON a bit, right? Like, so you had like the theory of grants, but inside, how were you able to get your first grant awarded and your first client in the academy? Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Okay. What I really liked about the academy at that time was you were offering the master grant application template as
Mm-hmm.
like the 30-day challenge.
Yeah.
And I think I joined on like the back end of that, but still it was like right there. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a great way just to like acquaint myself with it. Cause I looked at all the stuff from the certificate, the training stuff, like cool, but this was like hands-on experience writing a grant. And so I went through that template like as quickly as I could. And it was like probably a little over 2 weeks, and I had my template finished. I submitted it for review, and I believe it was Coach Yvonne. She just gave such great, or was it? I think it was you. Maybe it was you, Coach Holly. But then Coach Yvonne
She
did
does great reviews. She's
like
like,
fantastic. I'm like
yeah.
jumping ahead because so that template just gave me the confidence. Like it may not be a real grant, but I know what one looks like. I know that it needs to have impact data and research, just all the things that I've seen in my research papers for college. It was not much different other than this was for a really important reason. So from there, with that template, I started doing discovery calls, and that's when the curriculum was really helpful, just having a script. Being
Mm-hmm.
an introvert, like I just like knowing what to say. And so that just, again, it doesn't make everything like all better, but it still is like it's something. And before there was nothing, you know? So just now approaching people, announcing that I'm a grant writer, that was, you know, hard. But then I just got used to saying, you know, hey, I'm a grant writer and this is what I do. And the academy, just in that way of like breaking, articulating what you do and how you do it, showing that there was a process, again, that helped demystify it for me. So, like, once I understood, like, I am a grant writer, but like getting deeper than that because there's more to it. And having that process down and able to explain it, it truly helps the client, or even, I don't know, if you're in the discovery, potential client, feel more comfortable too. Like you look like a pro. So it just shortcuts through all of that confusion and like weird, awkward silence, not knowing, and just being like, this is what I do, this is what it costs, and then asking those questions, flipping it around and asking them. And I think that was like really, really important to me to have that kind of guidance and tools, just because as an introvert, I would have never been able to overcome that by myself.
You know, and what you're saying too is it's so interesting to because it's about changing your identity as well, right? And even like I remember because in Guam, you know, when you travel back and forth, you have to go through customs all the time. And I remember writing like I'm self-employed. Like, you know, like what's your, you know, they just ask you. And even that for me, I was like, I felt like I was lying. I was like, wait, I'm self-employed. Like, oh my God. They're like, oh, what do you do? Like I would get even going through customs in Guam, they'd be like, "Oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a grant writer. I do freelance grant writing. Oh, can I get your card? We need some like funding for this thing or whatever." So it was so funny, but I love that you talked about that change of identity of even like I'm a grant writer and saying that and believing it and then articulating it, you know, and it's just like that, oh, wow, that is a shift, right? So and having the support of the community there for you too, to be like, yes, you are. You are a freelance grant writer. Yeah. So,
Mhm.
and then we talked about you're getting your first grant client. So, and amazing, amazing. You just said today, I was like, oh yeah, I had you at $8,000 for your grants, which is so cool. Right before the green room. And then you said, what? You said what? You just surpassed, huh?
100,000 just last week.
Yes, I love that. It's like, so I was like, amazing. So, so good. And that's in grant awards. And in clients, how much have you got now?
It's floating around 65,000, and there's some
Amazing.
potential on the line too.
Yeah, you're like, and I got things lined up. And that,
Yes.
you know, that's amazing, especially while being in, you know, doing your master's, like there's a lot going on for a master's. And, you know, I got mine too, like I know, and doing your thesis and all of the things, like it's heavy. And to be able to have that sort of income while you're doing that and having the flexibility in hours, like how does that feel for you? Are you like,
I mean, I just feel like I've got so many pinch me moments every day where I'm like, wow, this is my job, or now I need to like pause it because I need to work on my manuscript a little more, but then I can go back to it. And it's the flexibility is just incredible and like so needed for me. And so I'm glad that I committed and
I love that.
went for it.
Oh, me too. Me too. I love that so much. And you know, and does it bring you more joy? I know you were saying you were working with kids, like that was just like you hit like a joy. You're like, no, right? Like I get that.
Yeah.
I used to work at a daycare when I was younger, and as much as I would have times that I love the kids, like just give me silence because you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it's a
Yeah.
lot. So yeah, so is it more money than you were making before as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Thanks to you. Now that I know, like, that I didn't have to volunteer or like work for, or not like work, yeah, work for free essentially, with the whole having to let them know that it's against the ethics to
Mhm.
write up front and then get paid on the back end. That's a conversation that I've had way too many times, but again, find it so easy because I knew exactly what to say, where to refer them to so they can read it for themselves.
Mhm.
So it's just an incredible curriculum.
I love that so much. Oh, so good. All right. So let's move on to Gabrielle, and then we're gonna do a speed round, y'all, with y'all after. So I want to make sure that we have that too. So Gabrielle, go ahead, introduce yourself and the name of your company as well and your role.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Perry. I'm from Oklahoma. My business, Grants by Gabrielle, no surprise. And um, before starting the academy, I had already started building the foundation of my grant writing business. I had opened in 2022, but I felt like I was piecing everything together on my own. I had secured a few clients, very minimal successes, not gonna lie, because I honestly lacked systems,
Mhm.
strategies, and confidence to really be able to put myself out there and say, hey, this is what I do, let me help you. And I was I'm a mom of three, so juggling that, working a 9 to 5, because I just wasn't quite confident enough to say, hey, I can do this for myself. And it was just being able to say, and prior to me joining the academy, I am just like Christina. 2 years late into this. Whenever I started my business, is whenever I found Holly's course. So, getting into that, it was a really big game changer. Being able to make that investment, I felt like it has significantly impacted my business today. So
I love it. You know, and just to like, because I know we just had a podcast interview recently too, and I've had a podcast interview with Christina. It was a while ago, but y'all look at it on the sales page. It's there if you guys want more. All these ladies. So if you want more information about their origin stories and everything, like do check it out. It's really good. But we were just talking, Gabby, and you were saying what really was like. What I love about you is you were saying I was pregnant with my third child and I quit my job while being pregnant. You're like, and for a lot of people, they would be like, no, I need to stay, like, da 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 da. And you're like, no, like looking at it the other way, I cannot stay. So, can you kind of talk about just like that mindset? Because I think that's so interesting and I love that.
yes, absolutely. So I was so tired of being, I don't know, I felt like I was just put through the system. Like whenever you have a baby, you're only allowed to do so much. You only get so much time. And with this being my third, I was like, why am I giving all my time away to other people? Because I am replaceable everywhere else except here in my home. And,
Mhm.
just having those conversations with my husband and my family, I was like, I can do this and I'm going to do it because I'm a mom. So I'm going to make this happen. And it was honestly the most freeing decision I have ever made, and it was not an easy choice because whenever I told my boss I was leaving, she looked at me like, are you crazy? And I thought I was going to throw up all over her desk. I
And
was
that
so,
wasn't just not just right. I mean, you're not just that was just for the pregnancy, right? Like nerves, right? Like
yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
Amazing.
I was terrified, but I was more focused on the positive side, because, having the community from the academy, whenever I made that decision, no matter what, I would be successful. So I was, I felt confident enough to say, I am ready to do this.
I love that so much. And, and part of that too, like looking at that and saying, what I loved what you just said there too was the only place I'm not replaceable is in my family. And, and that's so, I don't know, if that's like setting with anyone right now, but like or hitting with anyone, but so many of us, we think I'm irreplaceable at that nonprofit or that job that's paying me pennies and overworking me. And if I leave, they're going to fall apart. And we take on that responsibility as if it is our responsibility, and it's not. You are completely replaceable. I've seen people that think in jobs, you think they would be so irreplaceable, and they leave, and guess what? Everything's okay. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Everything falls apart because nothing else was there, and that was the only thing that was holding together. And guess what? That's not healthy or good either, and that's not their fault, right? So it's the organization. Yeah.
Exactly. And then being able to reduce my work over, because I was extremely overworked. I
Mm.
was a secretary doing grant writing duties, which was outside of my scope, if we're being honest. And so, but it was pushed on top of me under additional duties. And it was so frustrating because, I would see people do this. And I would be even seeing emails from Holly saying, this grant writer in the academy got $20,000 in clients. And I'm like, man, I wish I had a piece of that right now. Cause it's 2025 and it's hard out here, especially with people that have kids. And so, I was just tired of people benefiting from my skills and not paying for them, and being overworked, and coming into this, being able to reduce my hours and make 3 times now what my salary was there. Like, life changer.
Let's talk numbers then. You went there, let's talk numbers. So you make 3 times more than you did there, and you're doing like not as much work, and you're able to be home. Like, yeah. So, and I know you just updated me on your numbers, but let's go for it. So in grants, you secured in the academy over $261,000 in grant funding. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And in clients, over you just said, I just got updated, $130,000, y'all. $130,000. Oh, so she could actually be on our six-figure panel as well, right? Like this, that's what, and I love that you're like, that went from seeing an email from us going, hey, somebody won $20,000, and you going, I wish that's the dream.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was very difficult because I was afraid, like, and my Nana, God rest her soul, she told me, you have to do it while you're afraid, or you probably won't ever do it. And I was like, okay, well, I guess here I go. That was just kind of the little push that I needed, because it was right after my lunch break. That was only 30 minutes, but now I get to take however long I want to eat my food. But, it was on a 30-minute lunch break, and I got back, and after having that conversation with her, I was like, you know what? This is my moment. And I just walked her office, and I was like, here you go.
I love that so much. I'm so proud of you. And like it takes courage to do something new. And you see other people doing it, and you're like, oh my gosh, like that's them though. This is my circumstance. So I'm so glad you all are sharing your circumstances, right? And where you were in that. And I love that you saw like the dream is the 20,000. Now you're like, I've just made $130,000 like within the year.
Yeah,
Like amazing. So I'm so proud of you, and getting so much money for your clients as well. Like, moving into that and all of that. So, what in the program kind of helped you navigate where you are today? Because maybe people are like, oh my gosh, I want to be Gabrielle. I got kids
absolutely.
too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So I'm just going to be totally transparent here. It was a clear roadmap and real world tools that are inside of the academy. There's no fluff. You get modules with a really great framework that I could immediately use and apply to all of my grants, and how I connected and established those relationships with my clients. Because again, like you had said earlier, you get the framework of the grant writing, but you also get more of the business side as well. And so, just taking that and applying it, practice and theory, it was great. And it made those, and again, like what Christina had said, it definitely took away the awkwardness and, like, what am I going to say if they ask this? Like, it definitely helped give me a clear vision. And I'm very much an introvert. I feel like I'm well written versus not very well spoken. You never know what you're going to get with me every day. But and the mindset of the coaching that we get in the academy and the support from the community, those were the biggest things. And then also, there's the grant reviews, but then there's that confidence boost whenever you put in a win, you have people to support you, and that just gives me a little bit more gas to remind me why I do it.
I love that. I love that so much. And you're very well spoken, by the way.
Um,
Yeah, just throwing that out there. But yeah, a lot of us are introverts, right? Like you might see me, I'm kind of a middle. Like I used to be more of an extrovert. Yeah, now I'm more of an introvert. I'm kind of like that extrovert with, or I think I'm an introvert with extrovert qualities
that,
sometimes.
that is how I classify myself. I'm
Yeah.
learning to a type A, type B person. I'm like type C. I've got a lot of things together, and there's a lot of things I don't have together.
Yeah. And I think it's very common a lot around a lot of us grant writers. We kind of like being like the woman in the chair. You know what I mean? So, but we also like the energy around a community, but then we want to like shut the door and have you come in, right? So for a minute. No, that's okay. Love that so much. So we're going to go into our speed round now. So I've got a speed round for this panel. Basically, I just kind of want you to guys within 30 seconds to kind of give us an answer. So I want to find out first, okay, I had 2 questions and now my cat is laying on my notebook, but so let's see if I can remember it. But I want to know, before you joined, what was the biggest objection you had to joining the academy? Like what was your biggest fear potentially? And then what specific framework, tool, whatever inside the academy helped you like say, yes, this is it. Now I'm glad I did it, right? So I think that would be helpful for people, especially if they're on the fence of joining, or even if they're in the academy, to be like, what did they use specifically? So let's go ahead and Eowyn, also, can you introduce your company? I'm sorry, we didn't do that for your company as well before you start.
Oh, sure. Yeah. My company name is E&M Consulting.
Nice. Okay, so speed round. So what was the biggest objection, and then what was the biggest like, yes, I'm so glad I did this?
Cost. I was starting in business from scratch, and I had no like revenue, so the cost was scary because I didn't have anything coming in. So that was probably the biggest thing. But the thing that sold me on it was unlimited grant reviews, the Slack channel where I could ask any question, and then the pricing structure, all the info on how to market myself.
Now, how did you pay for it then if that cost was big? What did you put it on your credit card or like payment plans or?
Oh, no, that's okay. I did a payment plan, but I took the money from savings. Just I had some
Okay,
savings from
yes.
life. So yay.
Yay. And then like now walking away, like what's the biggest thing that's been like, bam, so glad I did this. This has been.
Oh my goodness. Probably all of the podcast episodes. I listen to
Oh,
them after they come out every time.
oh, the replays
And
from the calls.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great. Just going through everybody's questions. It's amazing to hear. It really keeps you in that mindset.
Mhm.
And then again, probably like right now, that just keeps me in it. Like all the industry standards, all the info we get that you email us with regularly, where we're staying in the loop on, new things going on. It's a crazy time. So it's good to stay in the loop on all of that. And then what else? What else? What else? Oh, probably all the webinars like corporate solicitations and
Oh
the
yeah, our
discovery
trainings.
sales calls. Yes, yes. I used it immediately after I took it, and it helped my client. So it was great.
Love that. I love that. Those are just bonuses inside too, just bonuses.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Eowyn. All right, Christina, what about you? What was your biggest objection? How'd you overcome it? And then your biggest like takeaway from the academy?
Yes. So similar to Aowen, definitely the cost, because I've tried like other programs. I was, I guess, more specifically afraid of wasting money again. Um,
Oh, interesting.
so I just remembered that it's only a waste if I don't do it. So I'm going to do it. And so then I also really wanted to kind of hone in on like what didn't work last time and like what's different this time. And so this time around, I knew or I saw in the curriculum that there was that framework to follow because it was the introvertedness. Like, what am I going to say to these people? Like, truly,
Yeah.
like to
Mhm.
understand like their missions and like what their work is. Like, I don't want to flounder that, you know? So just having that framework in place and just knowing what I was going to say, like, just made it feel like this is fine. And I used the payment plan
Mhm.
and again, just told myself this payment is as important as my car payment, and I'm making it every month, no question about it. If I've got to not go to Starbucks for a couple months, I'm paying for this program and seeing it through.
Mm-hmm. And now you can go to Starbucks every day.
Yes. Yes. Now I'm like, I'm not going to Starbucks. I don't need it.
I love that so much. I love that. And in the academy, like what's been the biggest like use of that been helpful? Like, so it's a sales call. Is that the strategy? I think that you kind of said like using the strategy.
Yeah, definitely like the sales calls, but even like the grant review. My very first like grant that I wrote for a client, Coach Yvonne reviewed it and she gave such detailed feedback. Like I was not
She's like
even,
yeah, she's the bit like, yeah, she's a big
yes, like I
grant
wasn't
right? We're
expecting
like,
that.
yes. Mhm.
I didn't know what to expect. Like, is it
Mhm.
going to be feedback that is like actionable and like, and like, yes, 10 times over. And like that truly showed me like, this is what needs to be my grant applications from here on. And then when I started to see, like repeat things being said, I'm like, okay, I see a pattern here. This is what I need to really work on. So just having that other set of eyes to really pinpoint how I can improve that much quicker
Yeah.
was monumental.
Amazing. Amazing. I love that so much. So good. So good. All right, Gabrielle. So biggest objection, how'd you overcome it? Biggest takeaway?
So my biggest objection, I'm not gonna lie, was content. So I have taken similar classes that are out there, but they're so vague. They're so vague. All the free ones are just too vague. And I have taken a collegiate level, I think that's how you say it, collegiate level certification class, what have you, at our local VOTEC for grant writing. And there was different components put into it, and I really liked it, but there was a lot of aspects that didn't go in depth. So my biggest objection was my fear of investing this large amount of money and not getting the most out of the experience, if that makes sense. And
Like
truthfully,
tangible application.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. And then, going through the class, one of the things that really helped me overcome that, like right off the bat, the modules come with a lot of really good templates that you can use with clients. So, like if you're doing like a board retreat, there's your SMART goals, SMART objectives, like doing your logic models. Like there's just so many really great templates that I immediately were like, oh yeah, I'm going to use this stuff left and right. And that was just an immediate, and it was easy for me to understand, but it was touching all of the areas that I had not, gone over in previous classes that I had paid for. So, and being able to utilize those and apply them to my clients currently, they are so helpful. And it just kind of paints them a picture, I guess is the right word. And it's very clear and it's in a concise format. And so like, that is like the best investment for me.
I love that. Yeah, the templates. And the thing is, yeah, you're right, because you use them in your business, but they're also deliverables that you don't have to
They
create.
are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
So
And
we
that is,
love that. We're like, we're in the
yeah,
client delivery with you. We don't just teach you
yeah.
how to get clients. We teach you how
Yes,
to
and
keep.
that's exactly how I spice up my marketing. It's like
Yeah.
I have deliverables. I have these
Yeah.
nice things. It's just they love it. They eat it up every time.
Love it so much. Yay. So this has been so good. So let's give a round of applause, asterisk, some love inside the chat, whatnot. Thank you so much, Awan, Christina, and Gabby for coming on the first panel with us today. Is this good or what, y'all? Put in the chat like if you guys are getting something out of this, because this is the way, like, yeah, how are people actually getting clients? How are they winning grants, right? We're hearing it, right? Different experiences. And Awan's also a mom too. Christina's, in school, like full time, working on her thesis. Like Gabby's, have 3 kids, like all of the things. Like we all have different experiences, right? In different places, and how we're going to balance this. And you can see how people are doing that. So good. So once again, before we go into it, we're moving into our second panel now. I'm really excited how to get your first 6 figures inside the academy. So all of these folks have hit 6 figures inside the academy, and they're going to tell you how they did it. And but before I start that, just another reminder that the doors are open until Sunday, June 22nd for the academy. So this is the program that they're talking about today of how they've gotten these results. They've joined it. Check out the sales page. If you have any questions, let us know. Dee's on the back end of the chat too. She can answer while we're on the panel call as well. And yeah, the doors are going to close. We want to make sure you can join. We're having a live discovery sales day next week. And even if you're like, I don't know if I could attend that, Holly, there's going to be a replay. We're doing mock sales calls. And it's interesting to hear how much benefit already, like the sales, especially Aowen and Christina, well, and Gabby too, right? We're all like the sales call stuff. Like our ethical nonprofit sales call system is like world class. It really is. And we're taking it another level next week. So can you only imagine? They've 60,000, 50,000, 130,000 in their business just from using what we currently have, and we're stepping it up. Stepping it up. So, okay. So good. All right. So let's go ahead and introduce our next panelist. So the same thing. I have the same kind of questions for you as well. I believe, because my cat is still there and she's refusing to move. So off my notebook. But so let's get into it. So we have Peyton Murphy. We have Dr. Lauren Hopkins. So you can get a little wave, Dr. Lauren. And then we also have Daphne Jean. So Daphne Jean, where is she? There she is. Okay. So if we can go ahead, Desiree, and spotlight them too. I hope that helps you all if you can see them spotlighted. And we're going to get into it. So go ahead, just like the other panel, can you go ahead and introduce yourself, the title, your role, and then, oh yeah, now we changed. Okay, your role, and then also the name of your business. And then go ahead and say, where were you before that you joined the Academy? Where are you now in your business? So let's kind of hear that. So let's go ahead and start with Dr. Lauren Hopkins, who also had a baby in our program, who's not with us tonight. She's like, my husband's watching him or watching her. So yeah, so good. So hey, welcome, Dr. Lauren.
Hey, yeah. Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Lauren, and I am located in Columbia, South Carolina, and my business is Prepared to Impact.
Love
Thanks.
it. Love it so much. Yeah. So tell us a little bit. Where were you at
Oh.
before the Academy? And then where are you at now? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So before the Academy, I was working at a local nonprofit here as their grant manager. And so I was writing and then managing their data. And then I was also doing some freelance. And so I had a couple clients, couple grant writing clients, and then I was also subcontracting for another grant writer. And that was going okay, but I was not getting paid well at all. And so, but I was just very thankful for the experience. But I said I could be doing better. I could be
Yeah.
doing way better. I think I was getting paid, just full transparency, y'all, like 20 an hour. I said, oh no, no, this cannot. I'm,
From the
I'm never going to go full
subcontracting
time.
or from your
I'm sorry,
job? From the subcontracting or from your job?
subcontracting. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And
So
I
you
said, I'm
had
never going to be able to go full time like this.
no. So you had a
Mhm.
full-time job while you're subcontracting? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Which is
Yes.
great.
Yes.
It gives you some side
hmm
money, it gives you the experience, right? So it's like
hmm
it's a great, but then you're like, I can't pay the bills though with that.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yep. And so, and then also like the burnout and such. And so, I learned about the academy through, I think, a conference, the nonprofit consulting conference.
Oh
And,
yeah.
I said, I just need to take a chance. I need to take a chance. And so, and it's been great. It's been great.
Oh, I love it. So in the academy, you then quit your job and went full time.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I
Yes.
quit
Tell
my
us about that.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quit my job after I think either 8 or 9 months after being in the academy. And that was a big change because of course I was pregnant at the time. And I
Same
said,
thing with
oh
Gabrielle. Yeah. Oh my
yeah.
God. You're pregnant. You're like, I'm not doing it anymore. No. I love it. Yeah.
And that was really tough. I said, but I just have to I just have to go for it.
Mm.
And so yeah, but I went full time and it's just been wonderful. It's been really good. And just stepping out on faith. So
I love
mhm.
that so much. Yeah, and in transitioning, so you keep the subcontracting job while you went full time as well? Did you kind of have like that?
Yeah, well, I sort of had a come to Jesus moment with you. And
Yeah.
so, and after a couple sessions, I remember one time you were like, Lauren, you can't like keep doing this because I was so burnt out working so hard. Granted, I was very thankful for the funds, but I was just working so hard. Um, and so I did quit that. And and then because of the academy, I had the strategies to get my own clients and built the confidence to price the way I needed to.
Yeah.
Um, and that was very, very helpful. So yeah, I quit the subcontracting and now I have subcontractors, but so
Yes,
there.
I love that full circle. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I know you're like, and
Yeah.
I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and you got the baby on your hip, and I'm like, girl is a boss right now. Like that's amazing that you are able to do that. And it's so funny. You could have been on our first panel too. Then you got your first clients like in the academy. So you did also get your first clients there, like for yourself, for your business.
Yeah, well, actually, I had clients before the
Okay.
academy, but they were sporadic. It would be more
Mhm.
so, people asking people in the community heard, "Hey, I heard you're a grant writer," or they knew that I worked at this particular nonprofit as a grant writer, and they said, "Well, can you do it on the side?" And I said, "Oh, I guess I can." But it was not consistent, and I was not very confident in my services and in
Yeah.
the business processes. I was just figuring things out. But it definitely, I probably beforehand maybe had three or four. It wasn't that much,
Very nice.
but everything skyrocketed. Even, once I joined the academy,
Yeah.
even before I went full time, just joining the academy, helped me so much.
Yeah. And that's why we're like, yeah, it's time. It's time to quit,
Yes,
right? You had that financial security then, right? With having those clients.
exactly.
And just how did you get the clients then? Because how, like, were you just more confident? You were going out there and marketing more, or like, was it
Yeah.
just like, yeah.
Well, actually, so within the academy, we do have the brochure as a template. I absolutely love it. I
Mhm.
love it. And I feel like it is it's a big confidence booster, but I feel
Mhm.
like people, when I approach them with my services, they're like, oh, she's like really professional. I'm like, I
Oh,
am.
our pitch deck that we have in Canva for you. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
And I still use it.
Yep.
And but a lot of my work has been honestly word of mouth.
Mhm.
But it's because of my current clients, of course, people in the community, and then grant wins also. And
Yeah.
the nonprofit community is pretty small, and so depending upon the community, but here it's pretty small. So and when you have a good reputation, it speaks for itself. And so through the academy, I'm able to not just build the business, but also get lots of grant wins. And so,
Yeah.
and I don't win
Yeah.
them all, but get a good bit. So,
And let's talk about that because I was just looking at that. So you said, "Oh, Holly, in the green room too." You said, "I have to increase some of these numbers," and I was like, "What?" So I was like, "Oh, you have $830,000 in grant wins, amazing." And you said, "What?" You said, "What?"
Oh, yes. So, in grant wins, I have actually 1 million. Oh, y'all, and I'm so excited because I hit the 1 million last night. I got a notification from a client. I was like, "Oh, I got the goal." And so super excited. 1 million, and then I actually got another award today, and so that was 34,000. And
Amazing. You're like,
yeah,
I'm
so
not
it's
just
been a
gonna hit
great
a
week.
million in these 24 hours. I'm gonna surpass it. I love it.
Yay! Yep.
I love
And
it.
so even the services within the academy, so the grant reviews have been very helpful. And like the master grant template, the MGA, I use that with the clients, and it really helps to save me a lot of time. With a baby, as y'all know, you don't have a lot of time, and so I really enjoy that. And it's very helpful, rather. And so the templates and then just the courses also have really helped me to strengthen my skills.
Mhm.
So I don't have a certificate. Well, I do. I have a certificate from one of our local institutions here, USC. However, I sometimes, well, I'm always learning too. So I, take classes and things like that. And so the courses through the academy so helpful, so helpful.
Yeah.
So even from the grant writing and then also from the business aspect too, very
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I noticed even just the three of you on this panel, like your faces are almost like every weekly call. Like you're still like, even though you've hit the six figures in your business, you're
Hmm.
still coming and asking and tweaking. Like we just worked on a new service for you yesterday in yesterday's call.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
I'm
love
so
that you're still, like you talked about, the still learning, and like once you hit like a milestone, like we keep growing, right? We keep growing, and I love that. That's
yes.
something I've seen through all three of you. So because what do they have in common? That's one of the things I would say is you keep showing up and you keep optimizing your business, right? I would say it's like the twin.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So you've been like an amazing. So I just want to say, 7 figures for funding for your community, for organizations that you absolutely love and care about. Like that's amazing. Like that's life
Thank
changing.
you.
Yeah. So I'm getting teary. Okay. So anyways, and your clients. So I had you as 102,000. You said that also needs to be updated, Holly. Can you tell
I
them
know,
what
right?
it's updated to?
Yeah. So I'm at about for income about 150,000 now. So hopefully I will get to about 200 by the end of the year is my goal. So mhm.
Yes, and I'm sure you have that, like that's like in, you can now figure that out and map that out, right? With the processes of like,
Yes.
okay, this is doable to hit this number. Amazing.
Exactly, yeah. And I think too that one, I have steadily increased my pricing, and that is you know, I don't know. I just don't. Well, I'm okay with talking about pricing, but I have to become more confident in saying, "Hey, this is what you bring to the table, Lauren, and is worth this price." And
I love
so,
that.
so the Academy has really helped with that, and then also offering various services. Today, I
Yeah.
just had a meeting with a prospective client, and they said, "Hey, of course, they reached out for grant writing, but they need it a bit quicker." And I said, "Well, the grants usually take several months to get. We might not hear back for like 3 to 6 months, but I do
Yeah.
have a corporate solicitation package that
Which we
may
just did that
be,
training. Yep.
mhm,
Yep. Yep.
that
No
may be
solicitation
really
training.
good for you." Yep. And so she signed right there.
Amazing. Amazing.
Hmm.
I love that. Ah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then, so that's also a diversified, because that is something we've added just like a month ago, I think, that we
Hmm.
added to the academy too, is like we gave you the how to lead that meeting, how to lead a facilitation and engage the board, giving them the industry list. And then we even give you a Canva package on a corporate solicitation package for that they could submit, right? So like
Hmm.
all the things are done for you. So it's not like you have to really like, how do I do this? What do I create?
Absolutely.
Like, and you got a client from it. So we make it so easy to get and make money in the program, right? And for your
Hmm.
clients too to make money, like with our
Yes.
grant reviews and everything. So I love that so much. Like so,
Yes.
so
Thank
good.
you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
I will say, if I can add that, I
Yeah.
think the clients also they like that I don't just grant write or write
Mm,
grants, and so that I can offer them some other options as a
yeah.
consultant that I only gain through being in the academy. Those resources and those services and the
Mhm.
brainstorming that we do within the academy, and I'm able to offer that, and so I think that that helps with the marketing piece also.
Right. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And we do like to say, like, you can stay in the lane of you're only
Mhm.
writing grants. Like, it's cool. But even in 2025, we're like, let's just give you a few more options just because we want to be able to overcome any objections that nonprofits may have if they're like, oh, but there's not as many grants. Well, we can still get you money. There's still things to do. And all of these skills
Mhm.
that you learn as well, like now you're learning how to do corporate solicitation training, right? So that's something you can have for life now that you can make money from for life, just that
Exactly.
service. And you can add it into your retainers, all the things, right? That like that. So I love that you're like, okay, how can I help this specific client then? What can I have for them? And then it's kind of done for you already. So
Absolutely.
congratulations on getting that client. Yeah.
Thank you.
Love that. Love that. You're welcome. Okay, so let's go ahead and Daphne, so go ahead and introduce yourself, your company, where were you at in your business before joining the academy and all of the things. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My business name is SMJ Consulting. Where was I before joining the academy? I think for me, I was just lost being a freelancer. I
Mhm.
had I had been in the development field for about like 5 to 6 years before transitioning to being a grant consultant. And one of my errors that I was making as I was contracting with different firms and also different organization is that I was presenting myself as an
as an employee.
Mhm.
Basically, I would be the grant writer. I would have control of my time, which was very precious to me, but I was still being paid hourly, and I didn't really see the money. And for me, it became very clear that I didn't understand the business side
Yeah.
of being an independent consultant. And I'm very resourceful, so I always think I'll figure it out. And my idea was just like, hey, LinkedIn is here. I can just follow seasoned grant writers like
Mhm.
Holly. I'll figure out what they're doing. Maybe I'll contract with them. And 2 years doing that was just not the best method at all. So I decided to join a similar call when the where Holly was just discussing the Freelance Grant Writing Academy. And I think for me, I was pretty much so like, okay, this is actually what I need to get to the next level.
Yeah.
Um, I I think when you're building a business, you need a community. And for me, I love the Freelance Grant Writing Academy because I am constantly learning from other people who are doing similar thing. Just
Yeah.
sitting here and listening to Dr. Hopkins, I was like, oh, let me take
Take
notes.
notes.
And I
Yeah,
think
take
that's the
notes.
beautiful thing about the Freelance Grant Writing Academy. We are a community. We can ask questions. We'll question about what's happening in our business. We can learn from other about their own experiences.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that so much. And we're like, when you were looking at it too, you said, okay, now I've been freelancing here a little bit. But I'm charging hourly. So joining in then was like, okay, now I have it. And I like what you said too about there's the gap. Like I've had that in my business too. Like I'm like, I should be tipping the scale right now. I kind of like have that feeling of it that it's like, why hasn't the scale tipped yet? What's missing? Where's the gap? Right. And for me too, it was like once I got a coach, that scale like tipped. Once I was investing in myself, like you all are doing, that scale tipped. But if I wasn't doing that, just trying to like, no, I'm just going to try to keep it super lean, like just me and like all the things and trying to do it all. And also another tipping scale is especially where you all three are once I hired someone to help me, right? Like those are the tipping moments, right? So I love that you're like, I'm doing this, I'm trying. There's a lot of information and YouTube videos out there, great. But still, it's like I need just that more support. So was there something specific in the academy that when you entered, Daphne, that you were like, yeah, that's it. That's helping me.
I remember one of the very first things that I did was use the proposal template.
Mhm.
Um, Before, I don't really recall how I was like doing my contract at all. And I think for me, the focus was just on kind of like deciding like, okay, you need a grant writer. I need to write grant application. I'll write 3 to 5 um, per month for you. That sounds about right. But having the proposal template was very useful because it kind of like introduced me to having like specific services, how to talk about the services, what are the purpose about each one, because as Dr. Hopkins did allude to earlier, you don't win every single grant application. So how do you talk about the value that you bring as a consultant to an organization? How do you have those ethical conversations? So for me, the ethical sales module was extremely important. Having like template to actually see how to present information to potential clients, being able to kind of just like, oh, okay, these are content that I can think for my business, how it would be useful for the client. So for example, I'm pretty sure a lot of us have had the experience where people trying to encourage us to like give free work and oftentimes be like, well, we'll pay you, we'll pay you when we win a grant. And I had experienced that a lot, but I didn't have the language to say, actually, this is not ethical. But now I was seeing it in a proposal template that you had created. So it gave me the confidence to inform them. And you encourage us to inform the nonprofit sector a lot because it's not coming from ill intention necessarily. People
Right.
just
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
So having these conversation, but like as a member of the Grant Professional Association, this is against their ethics, so I cannot do this, and these are the reason. It really just really empowered me to be more confident.
Yeah. I love that. And having the language, it sounds like too, because we have
Yes.
like FAQs and like commonly asked questions and how you would overcome that. So yeah, and a lot of people it's just like having the language because I remember when I was first doing sales way back in 2005 and I remember and I was selling for a grant writing agency, right? I had to do all the sales call and I remember they would be like these big universities like asking me questions like, well, what's the difference between your grant writing services and somebody else's? And I was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, heart palpitations, like all of it. I have no idea how to answer this question. And it's on the phone. And I'm like, and I'm just like, I'm going to be honest with him and say, I don't know. And that feels good. And I'm like, that's dumb. Like, oh gosh, like all of the things, right? Like, cause you don't know what you don't know. Right. And then you might feel like I'm ethically responding to this, but it's really not. You're just not prepared, right? You're not prepared for the questions that are going to be thrown at you. So to have preparation to your point and language breeds confidence and sales calls that's what you need to have is like not fake confidence either of like I'm just the best, I'm just going to go on with a confident attitude, but it's like I'm going to be confident because I know my services, I know the value, I know questions that are going to come my way, I'm not going to get offended by them, I'm just going to neutralize it and I'm going to respond, right? That's confidence. So I love that you're like I had the language, I had the sales script. Everyone's talking, people in the chat, where is it in the academy? Where is that discovered sales script? We'll share it with you. You got it. It's so good. It's so good too. So I love that so much, Daphne. I love that so good. And your numbers. Let's share your numbers. So we were like same thing. Grants. $2.8 million in grant funding. All right. Amazing. And
Yeah.
$134,500 in her business. Amazing. So good. So and from what? From charging hourly, right? Going, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this, like to this. So what were you at in your business before you came? Do you remember like how much you were making about?
I think I was probably making about 50K per year. Yeah.
And just kind of
50K
stuck
per year.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So the tipping point. So you definitely hit the tipping point in the academy.
Yeah.
You've almost tripled that. Right. So
Yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah.
good. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and go to Peyton as well. Peyton, so go ahead and introduce yourself, the name of your company, where you're at in your business or in life before. And I know you're also working full time. So kind of like share with that too, because you could also be first client maybe in the academy, or you had kind of like Lauren here and there.
Yeah. First legit client, like.
Okay. Cool. All right, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. I'm Peyton, founder of PM Grant Services, and we work with community-based nonprofits on the West Coast. And our focus areas are mental health and well-being and children, youth, and family services. Before the academy, I never thought I would be sitting here today. I definitely never had an idea that I would want to have a business or even knew what consulting was, honestly. And that was 2 years ago. I was introduced to kind of the consulting world from a subcontracting role with a former mentor. And then I found Holly's podcast and I resisted for a while. I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I want to do consulting. I love my full-time job. I really did. I loved the work that I was doing. I was an in-house grant writer. But finally gave in after hearing all the amazing benefits of the program. So in February of 2024, I joined the Academy. And within a month, I got my first retainer client. So before, I was kind of doing one-off jobs for some folks in the community. March 2024, got my first client. And then pretty much I was looking at it this morning, kind of a weird pattern, like every other month, I would get a new client since then. So I'm up to about 8 retainer clients now. And then I still do some subcontracting work for folks and organizations I'm really passionate about. So yeah, I went from like being an in-house writer, thinking I was staying there for forever, to now I hired my first subcontractor recently, and I'm just hoping to get my systems in order so I can continue to grow.
I love that so much. And then even so you just found the podcast and everything just because it's grant writing. So you were like listening to the grant because you're a grant writer in-house, right? And then you were just like, wait, why does she keep sending me emails about being a freelancer?
Yeah, I had started subcontracting for somebody, and was just kind of like, okay, I'm helping a friend out subcontracting. And then I started to look into it more and found you, Holly, and was like, wait, this is a whole thing. Like, I could make a lot of money here, and I could do this, and I can set my own hours. I can be my own boss. I want to have kids one day. Like, it's going to set me up for that. I'm like, okay, I think I got to see what this is about.
I love that. And I remember too, you're like, no, I love my job. And I'm like, cool, you don't have to quit it. Like we were all like, but then you kept getting clients. And I was like, all right, but if you keep saying yes to clients, then there's some desire there. There's some desire that it's not just because some people do want to, I just want to keep my full time and have a client or two on the side. And that's the way I want to freelance. And that's their goals, all the things. Cool. Like we do not judge. We're not like, no, you have to quit your job. We're not. But if you keep saying yes to clients, then we start getting in the mindset and we started doing more coaching that way to be like, all right, Payne, what's going on here? So can you want to talk about that? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think it was like November of 2024. I was working full time still. I had 4 retainer clients, and I had kind of a family and personal health situation come up. And so the work was kind of already unsustainable. And then that on top of it, it was like, there's absolutely no way I can do all of this. And I really took a look at everything. And the support in the Academy is like what really got me to have the confidence to be like, you know what, I can step back from my job and do this. There are a lot of options. It's an investment in myself, and I trust myself more than the nonprofit I work for. Mm-hmm. So I am going to try this, and I'm going to have the flexibility to be with my family during this time when they're going through health challenges. And so it really opened up a world for me that I didn't know existed and wouldn't have been a part of if it wasn't for the support in here. And I think like that's my number one tip to folks trying to grow.
Like, hold on a second. Sorry, my daughter took the earbuds and it went, the sound went to her earbuds. Sorry.
No problem. I was just saying, I think my number one.
Yeah. Sorry, now it's not working. Give me just 1 second. I'm so sorry, Peyton. Hold on.
Okay.
For some reason it switched out. Okay, now I'm good, I think. Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, no, thank you. Sorry. Okay. She turned this on. What's going on?
She's just hearing me talk in her AirPods.
Yeah, I think so. She's like, wait, am I listening to a podcast right now? Like, what's going on?
So funny. But what I was saying is, I think my number one tip for folks who are just looking, to start a business or grow is really to join a community like the Freelance Academy. Whether you kind of see it or not, it gives you the confidence to go into those sales calls, to talk to folks. And honestly, the best part of it for me has been the networking and the connections. Like Daphne and I have worked together. I've had chats with Dr. Lauren, like plenty of folks in here. I really take advantage of like getting to know them one-on-one and scheduling calls and working with people and just getting to know them. And I think that's like a community where you never know. Like the other day, somebody said that they were a bookkeeper and I reached out to her, and now we're going to do a knowledge exchange. She's going to give me some bookkeeping advice and I'm going to talk about Airtable. And so it's just like a really great resource of people, and we all kind of get the same like curriculum and coaching. And so we can talk about it and bounce ideas off each other. So that has just been really game changing for me.
I love that so much. And I know that you've gone to the mentorship as well. Like some of you right in here too, you've gone to the next program too, as you're building out your businesses. So that's great. And even going into that, like, I love what you talked about, Peyton, as far as like, you loved your full time, but you had more clients. You had the 4 you were like, I just can't take on. I remember those 80-hour weeks, and all of the things, and I hope that's getting better. And you're like, but it was kind of the choice of, okay, I can make a choice here. I can either keep going in this momentum, but I have to quit my job. So there was like a give and take that I love, or I could stay at my job and maybe reduce my clients. And like, what made you the choice, what made you make the choice of like, I'm gonna like make that sacrifice?
Yeah, I think having the foundation, the business courses in the academy, the tools and the support from the community and you, Holly, and coaching, like gave me the confidence. And then it was like, okay, I have the foundation to really actually make my own decision here. And I took a look at it and I really loved working with different nonprofits and having an impact for multiple nonprofits instead of just one. The first nonprofit I ever started grant writing for had 30 programs. And so I was kind of used to it, felt like a client aspect almost, where you're writing for different things like every day. And so it kind of gets boring when you're writing for the same thing over and over. And so now having, 8 different clients that, like one of my clients, we just got their first grant. It was a small $2,000 grant. And it's like literally my favorite grant win ever, because they get to buy art therapy supplies for all of their children therapy programs now. And like, it's just so much fun to like see that and know that you can help make an impact in communities.
I love that. I love that so much. And then even for you, like I've seen a switch in your personal goals. I remember we were talking, we were on a podcast, and or maybe it was a bonus call that I had with you, but we were talking, and I love what you said about, no, I want to make money. Like, can you talk to that too? Like, you're like, I have goals. I mean, yeah, 100K is good, but I want to keep moving. I want to break generational things in my family. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, totally. And not to get all feministy, but like a lot of times women are like not supposed to, a lot of times women are not supposed to have big revenue goals. Like money is not supposed to be our goal, right? It's supposed to be family. It's supposed to be different emotional things. And so a lot of times it's looked down on to have these larger goals. And I'm really lucky, and my husband and my family are really supportive. It's a world that my family never came from. And so when I kind of think about and talk about revenue goals, like they just laugh at me. And then I hit my goal. So now who's laughing? And I think it's just really cool to have like the flexibility to set my own goals. Like in a salaried job, you can only negotiate so much, but when you work for yourself, you can set your own goals. And so it's nice to see progress year over year.
I love that. And so quickly, I mean, it's even 8 clients. So a lot of you might be like, well, how much is she making with 8 clients? Because that doesn't even sound like a lot, right? Really, if you're like, okay, that 8 people I have to convert, like that's not a lot in the hundreds of nonprofits that are in everyone's communities, like literally everybody's communities. So let's talk numbers a little bit, Peyton. So you came in, now my cat's gone, I can kind of look at my notes, but you've already secured over $6.4 million in grant funding, and she's niched. She's like West Coast, like, you heard what she's talking about. She said West Coast, these certain industries, like she doesn't have all the clients in the world at $6.4 million in grants. And in your business, 8 clients, what is that? Can you give us your numbers on clients that you've gotten your revenue?
Yeah, it's just over a little over 300,000.
It's so amazing. Over $300,000 for 8 clients. Amazing. So good. So you don't have to have so many clients, and I'm just pointing that out because you don't have to have like 20 clients to hit 300,000. I mean, 300,000 is a pretty good chunk of change. And is that a nice increase from your JOB as well, from when you're working at your 9 to 5?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I can be transparent. I was making, I think, 80,000. And so, and working, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and not able to have flexibility with different health situations. And so now sometimes I can take Fridays off. I have a lot of work, but we're getting there sometimes, and I have a doctor's
take Fridays off.
Yeah. So it's a huge increase revenue wise and freedom. So
yeah. I love that. And so as you keep growing, I mean, I would love to see like how you keep pushing that forward, right? Like, why not? And as you keep growing and scaling your business and getting the support, so it's not just you taking on all of the clients as well. So good. I love a good revenue goal. So yeah, she's like, wait, I can go past 100,000. Yeah, sure I can. Yeah, and then doing it, and like you said, and because I come from that kind of you know, my family did not have a lot of money either. And just like that poverty mentality of like, oh, you got to keep your job for security, Holly, as a single mom. Like, oh, Holly, you gotta like, oh, $100,000, that's a lot of money. You know, like, do you really need that much? Do you really need to work? Do you really need that much? You know, shouldn't you spend more time with your daughter instead? I'm like, we spend a lot of time together. And I'm sure my daughter is going to be happy when I can provide a safe home for her as well, put her in a good school where she feels protected and she can thrive and all of that. And yeah, like we got to change the lens on women working as well. And to think, actually I have more time because I can like pick her up from school if I need to now, or you know what I mean? I can go to like the things in the middle of the day that they have. I couldn't do that at a 9 to 5, right? I couldn't do that. So good. I love that so much. All right, so let's do our speed round. So I'm ready for our speed round now. So it's, what was the number one objection before you joined? And then how did you overcome that objection? And then what has been like one of them? And I know you guys kind of talked about different pieces, but maybe a framework inside, a template, the community, what was the thing that's really driven your business forward, you think, and that you're going to lean into this year as well? And maybe talk about that too. Like, what are you going to lean into the academy this year to help your business grow? So, Dr. Lauren, let's go ahead and start with you.
Yes. So my primary objection was the funds. And so I'm like, wait a minute.
Everybody, the money. You had me, Holly. I just sit down and like, I'm looking at the money. All right. Yep.
It's the investment. I was I pregnant then? Maybe not yet, but
Right.
but still just knowing that we want to grow our family and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, but took a shot, you know what I mean? So and it was just a great it's still a great investment. And even, the next step with the mentoring program, mentorship
Yeah, you
also.
have a mentorship now. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
And
like, keep going. Let's keep going. Yeah.
yes, yeah. Well, and also, I'm able to, be in the next step and, take the next level, but also still be in the academy because I
Yeah.
still need that information also. Even like yesterday, I'm able to pick your brain and say, hey, I'm having, these challenges with my services. I need to figure things out. So, one of the, so my key thing that I really enjoy is the ability to pick your brain, Holly. So,
For coaching.
and the
Yeah.
coaches too, but
Yeah.
I love being able to talk with you and just say, hey, what do you think? Because you're just a wealth of knowledge, and not just from a grant writing perspective, and not from a business. Well, yeah, not from a grant writing perspective, but from a business too. And so, how can I grow my business to be where I need it to be, where I want it to be, and to reach those goals? And so, what can I add, and how can I continue to help communities and nonprofits? Because that's what I want to do. That's why we do it, So,
I
did
love
I
that.
answer all your questions?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. Oh, just one thing. How did you get the money? If you didn't have it, did you dip into your savings too? Payment plan?
You know what? Well, I did have money. I didn't want to spend it. So,
Okay. That's legitimate. Yep.
just
Because you were
saying.
like baby planning
Yeah.
money, right? We have
Yeah.
these, where are we gonna allocate them? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I knew I was going through a job transition too. And it's like, okay, well, I can save this or I can invest it and, prayerfully it will just blossom. So,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
a big thing. So,
Yeah, you
mhm.
planted that seed well, and it's grown and
Absolutely.
blossomed. So I love that. And I love too that, you talked about you're still in the academy as well, even though you're in our mentorship program. And our mentorship program, for those of you who may not know, it's for those who have hit at least $50,000 in their business and they're looking to scale their business. They're looking to start taking off vacations while their business still operates with team support, creating more systems, and also maybe doing a training or an on-demand course that they can have as well, and kind of diversify some streams in their business, and getting to the in the place of having that agency mindset. So not just freelance mindset anymore. It's shifting your identity again. So and then, but as you mentioned, a lot of you like to re-enroll in the academy too, because you're like, well, for one, yes, when I first joined the academy, that was the price was a consideration. Now it's a drop in the bucket. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you change the perspectives, change, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
love that. So yeah,
Thank you. Oh, can I
yeah,
say this too, Holly? Because I
yeah.
feel like I need to. So I didn't mean that we have like a lot of money. That's not what I meant. But I
Right,
meant
right,
that for
right,
my
yeah.
little side, for my
Yeah.
consulting, and my subcontracting, that's what I used. It was pretty much all of it. But yes, and now look at me. So it's going
Now
great.
look at you. Yes. Now look at me. I love that. Yes. No, yeah. And yeah,
Yeah.
to your point, like you may have a little bit of money there set aside, but it's for you're like, what purpose is this for? Right. And I still do that. Like we teach how to manage your money and what accounts and how much to have in different accounts as well. Because when you have like monies come into an account too, you do want to allocate them. So I'm so glad that you chose this allocation. Love it, love it. All right, so Peyton, let's go ahead and or actually let's go to Peyton and then we'll close out with Daphne. So Peyton, yeah, same thing. Speed round. What was a big objection? How did you overcome it? And then at the end, what was the number one thing or kind of that you've used in the academy and that you're looking to lean into the academy in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I think like everyone else says, cost was an objection, but when I really think about it, I think fear was more of my objection because if I joined, it meant I actually had to do it and I actually had to start a business. And if I didn't, I failed. Not literally, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't try, I didn't do it. So while cost was still a consideration, it was more of like, if I join this thing, that means I'm doing this thing. And can I do this thing? I don't know. So obviously we've overcome that objection. And I think like folks have shared, just all of the language that Holly provides in the curriculum, the assets that we get to use and, you know, customize to our own liking. It's all just so helpful. And the business acumen, and like I said, had never thought of owning a business. So just like learning about all of that, how to kind of move your tax money into a different account, all of just the little things that you don't think about. It's all in the curriculum. And so that really helped me be like, okay, I have the tools. I can do this now. Now I'm just my own roadblock. So yeah.
Yeah. And what made you, because you also renewed like Lauren, right? And the Daphne too, right? You all renewed in the academy as well. But you're in the mentorship too. So what made you like renew in the academy for this year and how are you going to lean into it and what are you going to use?
Yeah, a couple things made me renew. The grant reviews are super beneficial. What's big for me is networking and connections. And so the thought of like leaving this community devastated me. So that got me to stay as well. Like the Slack, I love the Slack. You guys will see me in the Slack too much. And I think leaning into this year, I'm really excited to explore some more like diversified revenue streams for nonprofits. I've done some corporate work before, some social media, some individual giving. So kind of leaning into the funding assets, especially the corporate solicitation training that Holly did, I think will be really helpful for my clients moving into this next year and kind of thinking creatively about how we can overcome some of their grant objections.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. All right, Daphne Jean. That's what I like to say. All right. What about you? Yeah. Main objection, how you overcame it. And then, yeah, what are you leaning into the academy this year?
I think for me, cost was a barrier, but because I had been doing this on my own for like about 2 years and I knew I needed the coaching, I saw it as investing in something that I was going to get a return on. So I did use my credit card to pay for it because when you pay in full, you do get like a $500 discount at the time that I register. I'm not sure if it has changed.
Yeah, it's $300 now, $300 discount. But and then you get the one-on-one coaching call. Yeah. But it was
Okay.
more before. It was more before, yeah.
Okay, yes. And having done this on my own for 2 years, I just knew I needed a community. I didn't know what the community necessarily entail, but I feel like I have gained so much out of the Freelance Grant Writing Academy. When you hear $2,000, it sounds expensive, and I'm pretty sure not all of us have $2,000, 2,000 disposable dollars. But in comparison to what you are getting, it's actually really worth it. The curriculum is very comprehensive. I had mentioned like having a hard time selling myself to clients, and I think last year you introduced this thing where we all work on a change statement. And for me, that change statement was transformational because I'm very detail oriented, and having to really go in depth about like what does this service address for a client? What is the offer that I'm telling my client I'm going to give them at the end of us working together was just like it started to click a little bit more because I
Yeah.
don't come from like a marketing background. I do not come from a business background at all. I was in the humanities in most of in college, and then I started working in nonprofits for a very long time, so I'm not very business minded naturally. So all of these tools were very critical for my own growth. In terms of what I'm looking to get out of this community this year, just really showing up with more transparency when I'm having like issue managing clients, just like going into Slack, hey, I'm having this issue. Can you please tell me like how to address it? The first year in the academy, it was all about the curriculum, going through the curriculum, using the templates. But now it's like, oh, okay, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm kind of a little bit unsure right now. Like this client just want me to write grant application, but I know there's more to securing grants than just writing the application. Can you help me have a conversation? Can you like coach me on the specific talking points that I need to address with them in order for me to continue on my growth? But at the same time, we all are business owners and business like change. And I think a lot of us in the academy experienced that at the beginning of the year because there were like so much upheaval about federal grants. So it was just like, what are we going to do? And have watched you like, okay, we're going to diversify our services, and this is how we do it. And this is why it's really important to have a community, because like doing it all on your own will just frustrate you, and you may actually be closer to quitting than growing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, you know, that thought too of like, yeah, well, I need the community because things change. Things are not just static. Like we've seen that this year in grant writing. Is grant writing gone? Not at all. Not at all. But has there been changes? You can see that with these, look at this panel. They're thriving, right? But yeah, the changes. Yeah, have they have, and I like how all of you are even saying, yeah, we've kind of like things like I've, you know, dove into like how to overcome 2025 scales objections, right? And Lauren's like, oh, I added corporate solicitation training. Daphne's like, I'm adding this, like I'm getting a revised change statement, right? Like we have to keep growing and changing and evolving as business owners, and it doesn't have to be hard either. It can just be like accepting like, oh, this is just a part of navigating it, and that's okay. And we can have that support. I think it's so good too. So good. So, oh my gosh, amazing stories. Thank you all for coming on the panel today as well. And if we have any questions, Desiree or Dee, if you guys can see I have any like main questions, I think we're here. I don't want to go too much longer, but I do. And if the panelists need to leave, you can feel free to leave as well. But I just want, can we give a round of applause to all of our panelists today for coming on? Thank you for sharing their stories today. Give them some love in the chat. And if you have any specific questions for them, please put it in the chat as well. Once again, the doors are open to the Freelance Grant Writer Academy. You can see the change. Like it just, when I think about all of the impact that it's had on you, and even me going back to, should I even launch this thing? I'm working on my change statement around the academy and all of the things that I've developed for it. Like to think of the impact, it's so fun. So I love hearing these stories because it makes me go, I made the right choice too, right? Like amazing when because I, like everybody else, should I invest in my coach? Should I do this? I have had all of the same questions, struggles, like not the exact same struggles, but similar kind of things, right? Imposter syndrome, like all of that. And to be like, you know what? I'm just going to launch it. It's not going to be perfect. you know, all of the things, and it can still get results. It can still get results. So even when I think the investment of $2,500, it's like, it's a drop in the bucket for everything that we provide. Like because I'm like, I want you to get such a return on your investment. And we even say like, I want you to quadruple your investment within 90 days. And we give you pathways on how to do that. But I know a lot of times people are like, Holly, all your results and what you're sharing, it just sounds too good to be true. So I wanted to make sure to be like, it's not, panelists. And if you're in the academy now and you have not reached like your first grant, your first client, I also wanted you to hear from people in the academy on that's why I'm like, how did you do that? Right? What did you use? Because I want you to be able to go and repeat what they're doing, exactly what they're doing, right? It's not rocket science. It's literally like, this is what I did. You can do it too. Just if you're in the academy, you have access to everything that they're talking about. So we have a question from Ramona. What is the difference for you in terms of being a grant consultant and a freelancer? I think that, is that just for the audience? I can answer that, but if one of you guys, you know what, do any of the panelists, do you guys have a way that you would answer that? Peyton shaking her head, yeah, you want to go take that one, Peyton?
I think if maybe what you mean by freelancer versus grant consultant, meaning like, you know, you think of yourself as like a business owner and like a firm or an agency as grant consultant, that's how I'm kind of taking this answer. I think as freelancing, it's more of something, I don't want to say casual. Casual is not the right word, but it's just you know, you're just doing it. And maybe it's a little bit of side money. Maybe it's your full-time income, but it's a little bit more simple, which also isn't the right word, but for lack of a better word. And I think when you have more of a consultancy or an agency mindset, you really step into that like CEO hat lens of this is a business and it needs to be able to run without me. So what systems do I need in place? And that's maybe when you start thinking about hiring folks on a subcontracting basis, or maybe a full-time employee, depending on what level you're at. So that's kind of how I would take that question, but I could be totally taking it the wrong way. But that for me would be kind of difference between freelancing and having more of like the agency or the consultancy mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm also, that was such a good answer. I love that. Yeah, I'm 100%. That's what we teach. So she's got it. So I'm also adding in our other panelists that we had today too, a spotlight here. I can't find, who am I missing? Gabby, did she have to leave already, Des? If you could spotlight her, because I can't see her in my, she may have had to leave. But if she's here, can you go ahead and spotlight her too? And then we can go ahead. Yeah, she might have had to go. But we can go ahead there. Sorry?
I think she might have had to leave. I'm also not seeing her in.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, if you all need to leave, go ahead and peace out. But I'm just like keeping you here too in case we have questions if you want to answer them. Tamara asks, how long have each of the panelists been in the academy? So just real quick, can you guys each share how long? We'll start with Dr. Lauren.
Yeah, I've been in the academy a little over a year and a half. I renewed after the first year.
Okay, perfect. Daphne?
I've been in the academy since January 2024.
Okay, nice. Okay, Christina?
Just over a year now.
Nice. Eowyn?
Just over a year, and I renewed.
And Peyton?
February 2024.
Yeah. So not that long, really. I mean, a year, a little over a year. Yeah. And looking at other questions. Any other questions? Very cool. We have how long have each of you been in there? So I'm just scrolling. And if I'm missing something, Dee, if you could let me know, because I'm scrolling up and there's new questions or there's new things coming in. People are so excited. There's thanking you so much and giving you so many claps and everything in here and sharing you. So good. So any other questions for our panelists in general? They're just giving you lots of love. I love that. I love that so much. Are federal grants still available? Linda asked. Okay, so anyone on the panel writing federal grants right now? Peyton is? Yeah, are they still available? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, we actually just got an award a month ago, 3 weeks ago. So they are, it's a different climate. And I think it depends on the focus area that you work in and the agency that you're applying to, but they definitely still are.
Okay, great. Yeah. And just speaking to that too, yes, they are still available. They had, there was like a moment on grants.gov where they were kind of like shutting everything down, looking at everything. Grants.gov is now back up. There are grants coming out. We're seeing more and more coming out as well. And we're also seeing things like a judge just, they were suing as well about the grant cuts from the National Institute of Health, so NIH. And they just won that our case to say that that was illegal, that those grants were frozen. So we're seeing a lot of judicial and legality kind of things that, that just takes time. And I remember, okay, so January 20th. Okay, right? January. Who was the first person I called? The first person I called when all of this started going down, when I heard about the grant freeze and everything, right? The first person I called was my very good friend, Vanessa Williams, who is a lawyer. I called the lawyer and I said, what's going on? What's going to happen? What's your prediction? Because lawyers, I feel like they kind of know like certain things, especially with that kind of climate, right? And what was happening. Because I'm like, that sounds really like legality stuff. Because I'm like, I don't think that's legal. And she said, yeah, there's going to be a lot of court cases. She's like, Holly, I don't want you to worry too much. This is crazy. Yes. But and it's unprecedented, but at the end of the day, with the legal system, it just is slow. But things will settle out because they can't do this. There's just different things that just can't happen. So even though, yes, they are happening, the legal system will eventually push back. And I trust her, and I'm starting to see that now. Will everything be completely like before? No, not for a while. But like as Peyton says, like there's still things happening. But definitely there are still federal grants out there too. All right, so we have some other questions as well. Do you charge by the hour still? Does anyone on the panel still charge hourly?
No, I do not. For me, I use the value-based pricing formula that is in the curriculum. And there's a lot of different factors in deciding how to price. It includes your experience. It may include if you are well connected to different funders. It includes the amount of grants you have won. So for me, the main focus is truly about what is the service I'm offering to the client, and also the number of deliverables per month. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of you've been using the value-based pricing, right? And then I know some people, they've come in and like even you, Daphne, you were like, I was pricing hourly, and now like I couldn't sustain my business that way. There is a better way. And that's why we teach retainer, we teach packages, right? And that can be really helpful as well. Okay, so oh, my cat keeps coming to say hi. All right, and then any other questions? Have you had to change your wording in grants due to DEI? Have any of you changed? I'm going to spotlight myself too, so I can. Yes, yeah, go ahead, Daphne, go ahead, go for it.
Take this question mainly because I do work with populations that would fall under DEI. That is a very great question. It really depends who you are writing the grant to and for. You do have to take consideration of the organization mission, what the leaders are willing to do and not willing to do in order to address their mission. At the same time, different funders are responding differently from the federal government. For some funder, they are taking this cautious stance where like, okay, let's remove our DI wording, let's rephrase it something else. However, because I do work with a lot of progressive funders that haven't changed their phrasing at all, they still committed to DEI. So in certain grants, yes, I'm still using the DEI language.
Okay. Yeah, and that's good to know too, because like there is this whole movement called Meet the Moment. I don't know if you all have heard of that, but it's where a lot of foundations. The cat is like, yeah, having a good day. She knows I'm leaving on a plane soon. She's like, I'm all over here. But what the Meet the Moment is, where a bunch of foundations, and it keeps growing every day, have joined together to commit to actually give more in different areas, specifically like DEI, those impacted by executive orders. And that's been really cool to see as well. So I love that you're saying, yes, in this case, yes, maybe if it's more like federal leaning or state leaning, but in this case, no, maybe you even dig in more because they're more passionate about funding those areas and, you know, they don't need to follow EOs. Like, you know what I mean? They're a little bit like more not or non-political in that way. Anyone else working on that DEI language?
Yeah, I would add that I think it's a really important conversation to have with each client individually, which
Mhm.
Daphne alluded to already. For example, I have one client, one of their core values is serving folks who are undocumented. And a conversation that we had is how will our clients feel if we just take all of their identity and this language off of our proposals and websites for the sake of getting money and adhering to something that's not in alignment with our mission. And so that particular client decided that they did not want to scrub their proposals. And then I had another client who said, you know, we don't agree with it, but we need the money. We need the grant funds to be able to serve these people. So we are going to scrub the language. And so I think it opens up a conversation, and it's a almost a relationship building kind of conversation you can have with the board and with the executive teams of your clients to see kind of where they fall on it and how they want to address things moving forward. So we have definitely gotten requests, and I think it depends on the client, how you approach it.
I love that too, because there's no judgment either. I think we just all need to be like clear, like some organizations are going to be like, nope, that's not where we're, and some are going to be like, yep, like, you know, a lot of universities are doing that. And it's not to say that they don't support those programs. It's just like, well, you know, even I was working with, I'm working with one of my clients right now because I reopened my agency this year. Telling you there's lots of grants and clients out there. I'm reopening my agency. And because like I don't need to, but I'm like, I need to help because people really need, they want to find diversified funding right now. They actually need me now more than before. So you as a freelance grant writer are needed more now than before. And they were like, you know, and they're an indigenous organization with climate change and everything and all, and they were like, you know, we don't even really support capitalism, but to operate, this is a capitalist society, and to operate through this, you know, it's fine if they're giving us money and they don't completely align with what we do because the whole capitalism is totally screwed anyways. So whatever. So it was like an interesting perspective. And I was like, okay. So, but yeah, once again, it's in individual organizations' opportunity to have that conversation and to really make their choices in that way. But yeah, and we have on our website too, we can definitely give it to y'all. We have trigger words, how to replace the trigger words, how to have these more value-based as well. So you can definitely grab that template as well. So good. Okay, do you use platforms like Instrumental? Everyone in here using grant prospecting software? Yes? Okay, what do you use? Round robin real quick. Aowen, what do you use?
Instrumental.
Instrumental. Do you go in it as a group or do you have your own?
I have my own.
Okay.
Yeah, I have my own. Because I do, because I work with two different organizations. They have a lot of programs. It just seemed better to just go ahead and invest in it.
Amazing, amazing. Christina, what do you use?
I also use Instrumental.
And do you have your own account as well?
I do.
Okay, awesome. Love it, love it. Was there a reason you chose Instrumental over anything else, Christina?
When I started working with several different clients, I just found that it was like it helped organize the grants that I'm searching for all in one place.
Yeah.
And I need that, or else I'll have like a million tabs open and like it'll be a mess. So I just love the organization that it provides and that structure.
Love it, love it. All right, what about you, Daphne? What do you use?
I use Instrumental, and I am part of a group.
Okay. Did you join the group in the academy?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah. And that's why I was asking you all, because if you don't know, if you're in the academy or you're thinking about joining, you can actually join a group. And we actually encourage you to do that if you, especially when you're first starting out and you may only have one client, or you're like, I don't want to invest, because it's about, I don't know the price exactly. I think it's around 3,000 a year, right? Something like that. So yeah, it's higher now. It keeps going up. But and we encourage you, what you can do is, because I think you can have, you have a certain amount of users, right, that you're able to have, or projects that you have. So what we say is you can join as a group in the beginning. You'll have fewer projects per person, but you'll pay less, and you don't need all those projects right away either. So that's a way that you can immediately, people have gotten their return on investment in the academy just because they become a part of a group in the academy with Instrumental, and they save so much money on that software. So it's like they buy us and they get Instrumental. It's like together. So it's pretty cool. So that's, I love that you're still diving into that, because we do like Instrumental, and Instrumental knows that we're doing that. We've had them come in and they actually say, okay, we know you all are doing that. Here's when you may want to get your own account, kind of a thing, like when you have this many clients, da 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 da. So it's we're very transparent as well. Okay, and Peyton, what about you? What do you use?
Yeah, I use Instrumental with a group from the academy, and something we did too, because folks had kind of like with confidentiality issues, is we signed like shared agreement between the group that we would just, stick to our projects. And so you can kind of, if your clients have questions about it too, that's one way you can navigate confidentiality. And then I also use Grant Station and Foundation Directory. So combination.
You have a lot. Okay, what was your choice? Like, maybe folks are like, oh, what should I use? Like, why do you use the other ones as well?
Hands down, Instrumental is the best. It's also the most expensive. I use Foundation Directory for free at my local library. So I block off a quarter every month and I just go mine the database and bring back what I can. And then Grant Station comes free with your GPA membership. And so it's nice to see kind of, sometimes they'll have stuff Instrumental doesn't. So this gives you like a robust look at everything.
And I don't have Grant Station. I used Foundation Directory Online since 2005, I think, for a long time, right? But I do find Instrumental. Now I use Instrumental, and I also it's just more sophisticated and easier to use, and it connects you with programs instead of just like general foundations, which is nice. It's like that dating. It's kind of like a dating app. I feel like Instrumental is. It'll connect you to the grant program, not just the funder, and then you can see all of your matches. Foundation Directly Online, it might be better now, but it was great for what it was, but Grant Station, I've heard, is good for international grants. So those of you who are based internationally, those of you who have international students, I heard there's a lot more grants on a Grant Station for international nonprofits. So that's something to kind of think about. There's also Grant Gopher, and that's really affordable, but it's just not as robust. But if you're just starting out, it may be what you need as well. So there are a lot of things that you can use. Yeah. All right. So what was your best marketing technique for getting clients? Cold emails, your network, in-person solicitation, some other tactic from Aggie. So let's go real quick around the room again. Your best marketing strategy or technique for getting clients. Christina, let's start with you.
I would say networking for sure, both like online and in person. But networking in person, like in my own area, has been amazing, and one thing led to another, and now I am what do they call it? I'm a little tired, but basically now I'm connected with my Chamber of Commerce and provide some advisement there with grants. And that is something that would not have happened if I didn't go to a couple of coffee shop networking opportunities right down the street.
Yeah, and that's what I tell y'all, join your chamber. I love that. And yeah, just going out to just regular networking things in your community, right? Awesome. Daphne, best way to get clients.
For me, a lot has been through referral, but I do actively LinkedIn. I do actively market on LinkedIn as a way to really visibility, and it's also like a long-term strategy. I don't need to get a client from a post in the next 2 weeks, but somebody can learn about the services that I provide, and maybe in 2 or 3 months they reach out to me.
Yeah, so it's more of that long term. So your shorter term like referrals, your longer term is LinkedIn. Yeah, and just being relevant, keeping relevant. I love that. Peyton.
Yeah, I would say referrals and also networking, but in a unique way. I think employing your inner circle with your elevator pitch. Like, my husband, I talk about it all the time, what I do. I'm constantly talking about my elevator pitch to my close friends, my close family, my husband. And I actually got one of my largest clients from him running into his former high school teacher at the store. who happened to then be an executive director. And he knew my pitch, basically gave it for me. And here we are today. So I think like using the assets that you have around you and folks who like are willing to kind of give your 1 or 2 sentences.
Yeah, that's so good. And we just did coaching yesterday. I think it was with Caitlin, and we were talking about that too. Like because she started with the cold pitching first, and I said, "Oh, you can," because she said nobody in my circle is in a nonprofit, and I said that doesn't matter. To your point, your husband's not in a nonprofit. He's like a bookkeeper, or lawyer, or something, right? Like that, something. Yeah.
Investments.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's not, but we all will run into somebody that'll be like, oh, I need that. Like I said, I come in through immigration, y'all, immigration. And they're like, oh, that's what you do. We need your card because we need a new conveyor belt over there and da da da. Like even that's not even a nonprofit. People need grants even outside of nonprofit. So I love that so much. Yeah. Aowen, what about you? Top way.
Definitely your network. I got a client at a play date with my daughter. We just went to a play date and I was talking to another mom and she said, oh, I work with a nonprofit. And we need a grant writer. So I gave her my card and now they're my client. And then I also, because I also attend like other like philanthropic organizations, like their events.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, organizations with, aligning missions, they support one another. So when I, make a gift or I care about an organization, I'll go there and you meet other people who also are seeking that type of support as well. So
I love
that's
that
something
so
that's helped
much.
me.
And you got to spend time with your daughter while you got that one client. So
Yeah, I know.
Nice.
That's great.
You're like, what? This is actually good for me. Like, yeah, I know. I love that so much.
Yeah.
And we always laugh on Guam. We're like, if you need a network, just go to Kmart, because that's like the main place we have. It's like, yeah. So funny. Yeah, it's just like being out there. I feel like is one of the best techniques of, like you said, getting out there. And I love painting. Like, yeah, because I talk about my business like this too. And so all my friends, my family, they know they got my little pitch down, and they're like your best cheerleaders, right? Your best cheerleaders in LinkedIn. So we do have to get going because I have to catch a flight. So anyway, so we could stay here all day. But thank you all for staying over late. Thank you for the panelists today. Thank you for the panelists staying on and answering questions. The doors do close to the Freelance Grant Writer Academy this Sunday, June 22nd at 11:59 p.m. We have so many good things going on. You'll definitely want to join. You want to join now. We have our Discovery Sales Day Lab. Are you guys all going to that next week? Yes. Yes, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So we have that coming up. We have your Quit Your Job training coming up the end of July, early August. We have so much going on. We even have a Giving Tuesday training we're going to give you all this year. So if you want to run a Giving Tuesday campaign for your clients, we're going to get you set up where you can help them do that as well. And that'll just be another thing that, maybe there's not all the grants that open right now, but you can add that in place as one of your deliverables, or just like add it anyways, because that could be extra income. That's just easy money to come in, right, for them, and then they feel good about you and all the things. So yeah, we're just going to help you help them get more funding. And so thank you everyone for coming today. Definitely go to the sales page, check it out for the Academy. Please join now because the doors will close and you want to get in everything going on today. So we will definitely address, and if you have any questions, you can keep reaching out to me at holly@grantwritingandfunding.com. We will answer your questions. Thank you again, panelists. Thank you for all the people that came, all the attendees, those who are in the Academy, those who are thinking about joining now. We really appreciate your time today, and I hope you got a lot of value out of this. I know I did. I know I did. So thank you so much, and we will see you inside the Academy. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.